Hi there, and congratulations on the purchase of your brand new Leapmotor B10. You've made a great decision. In this video, I'll take you through all the key features so you can get the best out of the car from day one. First up, let's talk about accessing the car. The car can be accessed in a number of ways. First up is using your NFC card. Simply tap the NFC card off the door mirror and the car pops open like so. Or you can use the mobile app on your smartphone. We would recommend setting this up straight away. To do so, download the official Leapmotor app and follow the on-screen instructions. When prompted to scan the QR code, enter the vehicle, click Settings, then System, scroll to the bottom, find Owner Authentication, click that, the QR code will now be displayed. Point your phone camera at the QR code, your vehicle and VIN number should now be displayed. Click Add and your phone is now connected to the vehicle. We would recommend enabling Bluetooth keys straight away. This will allow you to activate hands-free entry and exit of the vehicle without having to take your phone out of your pocket. Once your phone is connected, there's lots of great features that you can do with the app. Firstly, you can check your range and mileage. You can also check your charging status. You can check whether the vehicle is locked or unlocked. Then you can actually lock the vehicle. You can open the sunshade. You can even open the boot. You also have the option to precondition the vehicle. So before you get into the car, you can set what temperature you'd like inside the cabin. You also have the option to put on fast cooling, fast heating, quick ventilation. You can even defrost your windscreen. What's more, you can even schedule this. So you could set this up, for example, Monday to Friday before you leave for work, so that depending on what the weather is like outside, whether it's hot or cold, when you get into the cabin, it'll be the perfect temperature. You can even turn on the heated door mirrors, heated steering wheel, or the heated and ventilated seats. What's more, it even shows you where you parked your car. You simply locate it on the app and then it will bring you right to your car. You can even check your tyre pressures. To physically access the car, we do so using these beautiful hidden door handles. So we simply push in this part, the handle opens, we open like so and get in. So once inside the vehicle, to start the car, you place your NFC card down on the pad like so. We hold in the brake and we select drive on the gear selector on the right hand side. The car is now started. How handy was that? In order to turn off the car, we put our foot on the brake, we select park. When we exit the vehicle and lock the car will automatically turn itself off. There's no physical handbrake button, so when you select drive and begin to move off, the handbrake will automatically disengage itself. And likewise, when you select park and exit the vehicle, the handbrake will automatically engage. The driver's side of this pad is also a wireless smartphone charger. So you simply pop your phone down like so, make sure the wireless charging pad is enabled up here, and your phone is now charging. In order to connect our phone, we use the Bluetooth icon up here in the top left-hand corner of the screen. So I can see that is now searching for my phone. So if I open up Bluetooth, I should hopefully start to see it. Here we have the B10. I've just clicked on it. I now have a pairing code. I'm going to pair that up on my phone, and I'm also going to pair it on screen. I'm also going to allow contacts and favorites and sync. The phone is now connected. It's also given me the option to connect to CarPlay, so I'm going to do that straight away. I also just have to click connect on the screen. And my phone is now connected, and I also have Apple CarPlay on the screen. So when you're inside the cabin, you're going to control most of the features from this beautiful 14.6-inch HD touchscreen. So I'm going to spend a bit of time taking you through all the features and how to use the controls. So first thing we want to do is click Settings. So here on the left hand side, we'll see a whole host of functions from lighting, doors and windows, charging, driving, etc. So this is where you're going to manage most of the vehicle controls. So first up is lighting. So here is where we manage our front and rear LED lights. It's currently set to auto. I would recommend keeping it on auto. That way the car will automatically turn on and off the lights when it senses the conditions are correct to do so. But if for whatever reason you do want to manually control them, we can switch them off using this button here. We could then turn on our dipped headlights, or as I said, we can pop them back onto auto, which would be my recommendation. Here we have our front and rear fog lamps, which we can turn on and off there. We can also manually adjust the headlamp height using this button here. So we have 4 levels, so if we want to lower them down, we can go all the way down to 4, or then if we want to higher them back up, we can go all the way up and go back to 0. We also have our reading lights here. So we have fully opened and fully closed. So that just means on or off. So if you want to turn on your reading lights, you can turn them on like so. Or then if we want to turn them back off again, we do that here. Then as we scroll down the screen, we'll see that we have our automatic high beams, which we can turn on and off. We have the light delay, which I would recommend turning on. So this just means that when you turn off the vehicle, for the next 30 seconds, the headlights will remain illuminated. So if you're getting home late at night and it's dark, it will help you light the way so you can get into your house safely. We also have the auto reading lights function, which I would recommend turning on. This is just when you get into the vehicle, they'll stay illuminated for the first few seconds, allow you to get comfortable in the cabin, and then they'll switch themselves off. In this section, we also have ambient lights. So first up, you have the option to turn them on and off, or you can select auto. Again, I like to keep them on auto. We can also choose the color. So currently it's set to a nice pink reddish color, but if we wanted to select green or blue or even purple, we can do so here. We also have the kind of little color touchscreen that we can get a more accurate color. Then if we scroll down, we have the option to choose between static, monochrome, multicolor flashing. We can also select the brightness, and then we also have this lovely feature down here, which is called the music rhythm effects. So basically what that does is when you're listening to music, the ambient lighting will kind of dance along in rhythm with the music, and it's a really nice feature. Next up is doors and windows. So here, as the name suggests, we can manage our doors and windows. So first up, we have the option to lock all of the windows, which is quite handy from a safety feature, particularly if you have kids in the cars. We can also adjust our windows. So we have the option to do driver or front passenger. So if we select driver, we have this touch screen here that we can kind of use to bring down the window. We can also then raise that fully back up. We then have the option to fully open all the windows, fully close them, or slightly open. Now, just to point out, you also do have your main window controls here. So this is likely where you will manage all of your window controls if you need them. But just to point out, you can access them through the infotainment screen. So here we also have the controls for the sunshade. So the car comes with a panoramic sunroof, which is really nice, but it also has an electric sunshade, which is really handy. So it's currently open, but if we wanted to close it, we would tap this button here, which I'll do now. So as you can see, that has initiated the sunshade closing. Finally, in this section, we have the tailgate. So we have the option to open the tailgate here like so. So in this section, we also have tailgate height. So I'll just select that there. So this actually allows you to adjust the height of the tailgate itself. So say if you want to be able to reach the button more comfortably, well, then you could lower this down to a slightly lower height, and that will make it easier to close it for you. Next up is charging. So here, this is where we will manage the charging of the vehicle. So we can currently see that the vehicle is at 98%, so almost full. We also have the option here to set the charging limit. It's currently at 100%, but say if you're using a fast charger, the recommendation is to only charge it to 80%. We can do that using this bar here. So now when I am charging my car, once it goes to 80%, it will automatically stop charging so we don't risk damaging the battery. Here we also have our option to disconnect the charging cable should we need it. Obviously our charger isn't plugged in at the moment, so I do get that warning. Here in this section, we also have the option to schedule our charging. We can do this on the mobile app, but you can also do it in the vehicle here. So you might be on a nighttime rate that kicks in at 11 p.m. and maybe that kicks out at 8 a.m. So we can set that up so that the vehicle, even if it's plugged in, will only ever charge between those hours. And maybe you only want to do that Monday to Friday for when you're traveling to work. So we can then select which days we want. So that is set up, and now I just click yes, and that is scheduled. Then down the bottom, we also have the option to select how we want our range to be displayed. So standard is going to predict your range based on the national standard conditions, whereas if you select dynamic, that's actually going to be using your individual driving style to work out your range. So I would recommend selecting dynamic. Also in this section, we have V2L. So to check that out, we go into discharge. So what this allows the vehicle to do is with the use of an adapter, it can actually power electrical appliances. So first off, we need to enable it using this toggle here. And now once I plug in the adapter, the vehicle will now be able to power the electrical appliances. To avoid the risk of depleting your battery, you can set a minimum level. So perhaps we want to go to 20%. So if we are using the V2L to charge anything, Once our main battery goes to 20%, the V2L will kick out and it will no longer provide power to the electrical appliances. That just allows you to have a minimum level of battery at all times in order to use the vehicle for future use. And then once we're finished with the V2L, we simply click unlock. We don't have the charger plugged in at the moment, so again we get that notification, but that is how you would unlock the charger. Next up we have driving. So in the driving section, this is where you'll be able to choose between your different driving modes, your different levels of regeneration braking and steering and so on. So up top we have our acceleration mode. We can choose comfort, standard or sport. Comfort is going to be the most economically friendly and you're going to get the maximum range. But say if you want the sport you're feeling, you can select sport like that, or you can have standard. But I would recommend having it on comfort. Then we go on to regenerative braking. So again, this is going to help to maximize the range. I currently have it set to strong, but you also have the option to set it between weak and medium too. Then again, in steering, you have the option between comfort, standard and sport. This just comes down to personal preference. Next up, we also have the option to control our door mirrors. So we select it like so, and we will be using these toggles on the steering wheel to control our left-hand door mirror and our right-hand door mirror. So if we go up, down, left, right, that's how you adjust your door mirrors. You also have the option to quickly fold and unfold them. So if I select fold, the wing mirrors have gone in like so. I also have the option to quickly heat them. So now they would begin heating. Here we have a toggle so that the rear view mirrors automatically fold and unfold as the vehicle locks and unlocks. So I definitely recommend having that on. And we also have the option to have automatic rear view mirror heating. So this will automatically turn on your heated door mirrors when the rain starts. So again, very handy. Next up, we have this option which says custom steering wheel. So what this is this customizable button on the steering wheel here. So if I open it up, you can see that we have an option of a single click and a double click. So if we select single click, this means that when we press this steering wheel button, whatever we select will automatically happen. But what I think most people might use this for is the combined function setting. So if we open up the combined function settings, we have the option to personalize how we want the vehicle to act and which features we want automatically turned on when we click that button. So we have the option to choose our acceleration mode. I'll go comfort. We have the option to choose our regenerative braking. I'll go strong because I want to maximize my range. We also have the option to turn on and off some of the ADAS systems. So that stands for Advanced Driver Assistance Systems. There's 17 on the vehicle in total. Most of these, based on regulations, have to be switched on by default. But I know some people like some, dislike certain others. So what I would do is I would use this section to manage which of the preferred ADAS systems you want to keep on when you press this button. So for instance, we currently have the intelligent speed assistance. I would keep this on because this will display your traffic sign recognition, but maybe you don't want the overspeed warning icon on. Maybe you want the lane departure warning on. So we'll keep both. And we definitely want the automatic emergency braking on. So that would be my options, for instance. Now, just to point out, even though it says single click, the regulations state that you cannot turn off any of the ADAS systems using a single click. So what you have to do is actually press the button twice. So you press it once, you will get a prompt to say click again to enable combined settings. I clicked it again, and now my preferred settings should be on. We then have a number of vehicle functions. So for instance, we have one pedal mode. So if I enable that, it will allow me to control the vehicle with a single pedal, which is the accelerator. So using the accelerator, I can actually accelerate and brake by simply taking my foot off the accelerator. So it's very handy. We also have creep mode. So if I enable that, as soon as I lift my foot off the brake, the vehicle will start inching forward. We have auto hold. So what that does is when you're holding in the brake pedal, you will see that the auto hold function will come on. So then you can actually take your foot off the pedal and it will hold the vehicle in place. And then you have other options such as electronic stability control, hill descent control, comfortable stop, and so on. So next up we have ADAS. So as mentioned, the vehicle has 17 of these systems. They're listed between driver assistance, active safety, and image assist. Under driver assistance, you will have lane centering control and intelligent speed assistance. And then you have some subheadings so you can play around with that and choose your preferred ones. Then if we go to active safety, you have stuff that's actively preventing you from getting into a crash, such as forward collision warning, automatic emergency braking, lane departure warning and lane keep assist and so on. Finally, we have image assist. So what that does is it gives you 3 options, and this will automatically turn on your 360-degree camera and 3D technology, like you can see on the right hand side under 3 different scenarios. So first up is steering assist image. So if you have this selected, when you select the indicator either right or left, up will pop the 360-degree camera and the 3D technology, giving you a full view of what's around you to make your turning maneuver slightly easier. We also have the vehicle startup assist. So that's simply when you select drive, it's automatically going to turn on the 360-degree camera and the 3D technology, because it knows you're going to be trying to take off, and it will want to give you as much visibility as possible. And then finally, we have the hill assist image. So if the vehicle detects that you're on a hill, it will automatically turn on the camera, just because it knows that your view might be impeded by the hill. So it will help you analyze what's around you better. So 3 handy systems there. Next up, we have sound. So this is quite straightforward. I won't spend too much time on it. You can independently choose different volumes of sound for your immediate navigation, phone, incoming call ringtone, and your intelligent voice. So it's quite straightforward. You simply just move the bars up and down like so. We also have the option then to turn on audible touch feedback. So if I have that enabled, each time I click something, I'll get a sound. I also have gear shifting alert sound. So as I move the gears, I'll hear a sound, and then you can play around with whatever sound you want to keep on and off the vehicle. Next up, we have the Leapmotor Assistant. Leapmotor does come with a very intuitive Leapmotor Assistant. So this basically allows you to control a lot of functions in the car using the phrase, "Hi Leapmotor,
please continue."
We also have another option to use the voice recognition button on the steering wheel. So by using this button, I simply press it once, and the Leapmotor Assistant is now awake. So this is a really handy feature, particularly for when you're driving. You'll be able to control a lot of the functions using the voice, so you can spend as much time keeping your hands on the steering wheel as possible. So for instance, "Hi Leapmotor,
you can tell me.
Please close the sunshade."
Okay, sunshade closed.
"Hi Leapmotor,
I'm coming.
Please set the temperature in the vehicle to 20 degrees.
Okay, driver's seat temperature adjusted.
Please increase the fan speed."
Okay, air volume increased.
So as you can see, it's really handy. It allows you to do loads of functions. You can read up all about this in the owner's manual or online. Next up, we have display. So I won't spend too much time on this. This is mainly just how the display looks. So you have the option to choose between light mode and dark mode. We're currently in dark mode. However, you could move it to light mode. We then also have the option to adjust our screen brightness. I have this set to automatic, so that will do so depending on the conditions. Next up is the screen cleaning section. So from time to time, we will need to clean the screen. So in order to do this safely, we click this button here. The screen has now shut off. That will allow us to clean the screen, and we won't be pressing any buttons or functions. And then to turn it back on, we simply hold down here for 3 seconds as the screen is advising us to do so. And now it is back on. Lastly, in this section, we have this custom bottom bar. So as we'll touch on in a few moments, along the bottom of the screen, we have all of these shortcuts. Now, if we want to personalize these shortcuts, we open up bottom bar, and here we can see that I can add or delete what's showing up. So we currently have audio, air intake, rear window heater, heated and ventilated seats. But if we want to get rid of any of those, we select like this, and then perhaps I can add the folding door mirrors like so. Likewise, on the right hand side, we have the application. So I currently have the 360-degree camera, local media, navigation. But if I wanted to get rid of any of those, say I want to get rid of local media, I can then choose maybe to add Spotify in instead. So that's where you do it. You select completed then, and your shortcuts have changed. Next up, we'll talk about the shortcuts along the bottom of the screen. So we currently can set our audio for all of our various different functions, choose which air intake we have, whether it's coming from outside the vehicle or whether it's recirculating inside the vehicle. We now have our auto folding door mirrors. We also have the option for our heated and ventilated seats. So this is really handy. So it allows us to quickly manage the temperature of the seats. So if we just want to quickly turn on the ventilation, we can do that like so. As you can see, both seats have come on at full power of ventilation. Perhaps we want to turn that down slightly. Either one we can. Perhaps we want to turn on the heating instead. We can do that with one touch. Again, we can choose the degree of toastiness, let's call it. Or then if I want to turn it all off, I can do that like so. Maybe I just want to turn on the heated steering wheel. I can do that here. And then for your air conditioning, we have the option to choose between ventilation, heating, air control and auto. So a lot of times you will probably have that on auto. Here we can select fan speed by quickly going up and down like this. We have the option to choose where the air is coming from, so whether it's down below, in the middle, or up on the windscreen like so. We also have the option then to choose our temperature by quickly scanning like so. And then we also up here have the option to turn on our rear window heater or even our windscreen defroster. So that's currently on max. If we press it again, it will go to auto, or then we can completely turn it off. So we can also just quickly turn on and off the air conditioning like that, so the fans are off, or perhaps if we just want to quickly scan between the temperatures, we can do that here. As said, again, the customizable apps over here. So we have our 360-degree camera if we want to switch that on quickly. We have Spotify, I'll talk about that in a minute. Maybe we want to open up our navigation quickly. We then have our settings, and this is the app section. So the Leapmotor B10 comes with a whole host of apps built in already. But we also have the App Store, which will allow us to manage which apps we want on the vehicle. So we just have to agree to terms and conditions. So first thing I would recommend installing is Links, because this will automatically provide access to additional apps such as YouTube, Facebook, Reddit. You can also do Zoom, and you can even do TikTok. So we'll install that as well. So then if we go back to the main app section, I'm going to open up Links. And as mentioned, this gives you access to a whole host of popular apps such as YouTube, YouTube Music, TripAdvisor, Facebook, even Reddit. And now you're able to watch YouTube on a lovely 14.6-inch HD screen, much better than watching on your phone. So you can sit back, relax and enjoy the entertainment. Here we also have our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So as you've seen, I've set up my Apple CarPlay, so now I have access to that. You also have a number of shortcuts here. So as we can see, our tire pressure and our temperatures are displayed. If we want to get a bit more access, we can again pull it up on the big screen. This is really handy as well. This will also show you your consumption and what's using most of your consumption. So when you're driving, it will be predominantly driving. But you'll also be able to quickly see how much range you're getting since your last charge and so on. We can also open up our media. So currently it's set to Spotify. And then the last one will be our navigation. We also see here we can use this main part of the screen as well to quickly manage some controls. So if we wanted to open the tailgate, we could use that button there. Perhaps we want to control the sunshade, we can do so there, or even the door mirrors. So if you use that and spin to which part of the vehicle you're looking for the control, that will allow you to do that. So that's very handy as well. So we also have a number of shortcuts on the top left hand and top right hand side of the screen. So first up, we have a GPS position locator. We also have notifications. Then we also have our Wi-Fi within the vehicle, and then finally we have our Bluetooth. On the right hand side, first up is our Dashcam, which I'll talk to you about shortly. We also have the option to turn on and off our wireless charger. We have the option to lock the vehicle. We can also see our battery status and the percentage, and then if we click on that, we can also see how much range we have left. And then if we wanted actually to go into our charging status and so on, we can do that here. Lastly, on this screen we have the control center, so we can quickly pull down the screen like so, and now we have access to a whole host of various functions. So we can unlock our charging cable, we can turn on our rear fogs. There's a whole host of them. Then similar to the shortcuts along the bottom, if we want to personalize these, we press the pencil icon like so, and now we have the option to maybe add the sunshade and remove one of the other ones. So you can play around with that and set that up for your preferred preferences. So the B10 does come with a built-in dashcam function. And to use it, we need one of these, which is a USB key. We simply plug it into the slot down below, and now we should see that a red dot is now flashing on the dashcam icon. This means that the dashcam is now recording. We can open it up like so. And now we can see that the 4 cameras are actually recording what's going on outside the vehicle. So it records automatically once the USB is plugged in. It records in 3-minute loops continuously. And if we ever want to access any of the footage, we select looping video. Here we can also check the footage, but we can also delete it. So that's where we would do that here. Next up, we'll talk about the steering wheel, its controls, and also the lovely 8.8-inch LCD information cluster behind the steering wheel. And I'll talk you through how you use most of these functions. So first up, we'll start with the 8.8-inch screen. So here you'll see everything from your speed, the traffic sign information. You'll see how much battery you have left. If you're charging the vehicle, you'll also be able to monitor the charging status from here. You'll see which lights are switched on, and you'll also see whether you're in park, drive, reverse, or neutral. When you're driving, you'll also see some of the ADAS systems. So you'll see the lane keep assist, and you'll also see the ACC, or the adjustable cruise control. So to manage the ACC, first up you will see a grayed out circle, and then to select it, we simply pull down on the gear select on the right hand side, and it will be illuminated green. Then if you want to adjust the speed up or down, we use this toggle here. So we push it up to increase the speed, or we bring it down to reduce the speed. On the right hand side, we also have a number of different information displays. So here we can see our odometer, so we can see our consumption, our mileage, and so on. If we want to change this information display, we use this button on the steering wheel here. We click it once and now it has changed to navigation. We click it again and now I'm on media, and we click it again and we go back to the consumption stats. Other controls on the steering wheel are we are able to lock our vehicle and unlock it using this button here. This is our customizable button which we talked about earlier. This is our voice recognition button, and as I've just mentioned, this is our button to switch between displays. If you're listening to music or media, you can use this toggle to control it. So up and down will control the volume, and then left and right will allow you to skip back and forward between tracks. So next up, we'll talk about the stalks on the left and right hand side. So on the right hand side, as we've discussed, that is your gear shifter. So down for drive, up for reverse, in the middle is neutral, and then to press park, we press the button on the end of the stalk. On the left hand side is where you'll manage your windscreen wipers and your indicators. So we use this switch on the end to control our windscreen wipers. So it's currently turned off. If you just turn that up once, that will now put them onto auto or rain sensing wipers. So that would be my recommendation. But if you wanted to increase the speed from low to high, you would again just go through that, and that will automatically adjust the speed of the wipers. Then if you did want to splash water on the front of your windscreen, you would use this button here. And now that is splashing water and the windscreen will be nice and clean. In terms of the steering wheel itself, it's actually tilt and telescopic. So there's a little latch located underneath the steering wheel. We pull that down fully, and now we can push the steering wheel in, out, up, down, and we can find our desired position. What I really like about it is the screen itself is mounted on the steering wheel column, so it will always stay central within the steering wheel. To adjust our seat position, we have 6-way electrical adjustment on the driver's seat. We can use the switches which are located here. So we can go backwards, forwards, up, down. We can adjust the lumbar support, so really comfortable. To access the boot, we do so using this button here. There are also another couple of options. You can use the mobile app, or you could also use the infotainment screen inside the car. There's lots of storage space in here, and it's also very functional. So first of all, you have this lovely flat floor that makes it really easy to load and unload items. We also have this lovely parcel shelf, so this can be removed. So that will give you the full height of your boot. But then if you want to keep any valuables that you do have stored in your boot out of prying eyes, you can simply pop it back in like so. Underneath the flat floor, there is some storage space, and this is where you'll find your charging cables. So the car comes with mode 2 and mode 3 charging cables as standard, and it's a nice, neat storage area. And then if you want to close the tailgate, you simply push this button here. Your charging port is located on the driver's side rear of the vehicle. So to open it, you simply press in once and then open the flap. Here we have our AC and DC charging. So to use the AC charging, remove the cap and plug in your charger. Once your charger is plugged in, you'll be able to monitor your charging status using the screen inside the vehicle or also on your app. To open the bonnet, first you'll need to pull the switch located underneath the steering wheel. You need to do this twice in quick succession in order for the bonnet to open. Once you've done that, simply lift up the bonnet and then you can prop it up like so. Underneath the bonnet, you also have this handy front storage space. So this is just an additional bit of storage space that you can use for charging cables. Then to close the bonnet, we simply pop that down like so, and then just let the bonnet shut close. Well, I hope that you enjoyed that video and you now feel like that you understand all of the key features that are on the car and how to use them, and that you're confident to hit the road. I wish you many miles of safe and happy motoring.